So this is the basic camera that you guys are going to be getting, and it's really important that you know a few things about this camera. Number one, when we're looking at the front, you're going to see that you've got the lens. I also kind of want to zoom in a little bit on this right here. Sorry, no manicure. This is a Rebel T6. You will have a variety of Canon. You'll see T3, T4, T5, this Rebel T6, etc. So it depends on which letter camera you have. If you have camera M assigned to you, this is camera M, so you'll know what this one is. Here's the lens, and you can see on here it's a Canon zoom lens. You can see it also has some millimeters. That refers to the acceptable range of focal distance. So you know an 18 to 55 millimeter has some zoom. If it's only a single number, you know that there is no zoom to that lens. You might say, well, what's the purpose? There's actually a really great purpose that we'll talk about later. So this is good for like your average shooting, your average picture taking. This is not a good lens for going to a football game, for example, or photographing things that are far away from you, because that 55 millimeter zoom is not very much. You then can move on. When I say what kind of camera do you have, you're going to say, oh, I have a T6, I have a T5, because that means I know exactly which battery to get for you. Okay, so I'm going to back the camera up a little bit, and we're going to start looking at the back of the camera. Okay, on the back of the camera, you're going to find this right here is, when you turn on the camera, the ability to see what's happening through the lens. That's like a live view mode. I really do not want you guys using a live view mode. Live view mode, first of all, takes a long time. It's called like the click to capture. The time from when you execute the picture by pressing the shutter release to the time it's captured takes too long. You oftentimes miss the great shot. I also don't care for it because nothing is going to replace right here being my viewfinder. I want your eyeballs up against, not like your entire eyeball up against it, but you know what I mean. I want you to look through this. I want you to make sure that you're looking through this right here to capture your picture. So that's another really important feature in there. There's a little dial right next to it that can actually adjust the vision through your eyepiece. I ask that you do not touch that. That's really only for a camera that's used by one person, and that person who needs to remove their glasses while shooting. And you having to fix that after someone touches it before you is nothing but a big pain. So again, please do not do that. If you're looking through your lens and everything's blurry, and no matter what you do to focus, at that point maybe you need to step over and talk with me so we can go ahead and take a look at what might be wrong with it. Okay? So we talked about live view. There's a bunch of other settings back here that we're not going to talk about quite yet until we see some pictures happening. Looking at the top of the camera, when we covered the camera yesterday, this guy right here, that's our shutter release. That's the button that you press in order to get that picture captured. Again, shutter release, so you want to know that as an actual term. To focus, your focus is on your lens. You can see right here, zooming in and zooming out, that's my zoom. But right over in here, if it wasn't on my, right now it's on auto, so that's why it's a little harder to twist, that's my fine focus. So when you're manually focusing in the very near future, you're going to adjust that image in and out very lightly. So there are two things on here. There's a zoom, and there's a fine focus. So you want to make sure you recognize that those are both very different things. Zoom first, I've got the image framed, then I focus my image. Now if I zoom and I focus and I still can't get it in focus, it's outside of the range my lens can capture. So I need a different lens, or I need to move away or closer to the object in order to make that picture happen. For example, if I photograph this remote right in front, I couldn't get this to be in focus. My camera lens is way too close, which would not be a good finish, okay? So you need to have a good distance for each of these lenses, or a certain distance away for it to happen, okay? So when you first get the camera, there's a couple of things they want you to, pardon the pun, there's a few things I want you to focus on, ba-dum-bum. All right, so right over here, this is your camera mode dial. This dial is incredibly important. Too many people just start taking pictures instead of looking at what is here. This right here, right along the side, you see that little white dash that my fingernail is pointing to. that little white dash on the edge of the camera body, the black part, determines what mode you're on, okay? So you want that to be right next to the mode that you're looking for. Right now, it's on auto, A+ in that green. That's my auto mode. The computer will automatically pick everything for me, but focusing. And I'll show you where to fix focusing next. We've got TV, which is shutter priority. We've got AV, which is aperture priority. And we have M, which is manual. So those are some of the more basic and important ones that we'll be using in here. At the very start, you're shooting on auto. And again, we're only doing auto shooting just so that you guys are familiar with the cameras and how to work them. Then we're going to start moving to our modes, okay? You're going to go ahead and you're going to notice also that you've got an on-off switch. You have to make sure that it is powered off at the end of every single class period. The battery dies. Those students who are after you are going to have a major problem because they won't have a battery. If you notice your battery's down to 1, even 2 bars, you're going to want to let me know. I'll tell you, and I'll probably give you a charger. I'll show you where to charge it and put that camera on charge so that that battery is ready to go for the next person. I'm going to go ahead and flip this switch right here. You'll see I've now flipped it to on, so it's ready to go. You can press that shutter release button and you're going to see that that's going to give you everything that you need to get moving, okay? I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to flip it to the bottom of the camera now. Okay, so the bottom of the camera is actually very important because that's what you need to use to put your battery and your memory card in. There's a little door and you sort of press this little switch down just delicately. Please remember that these parts are made of plastic, which means they can break easily. So you do want to work with the camera very delicately at all times. You're going to press that down. I have no nails, but I just help it pop up, so you don't need to have nails. But if you have challenge, just ask your partner to help you. Once that door opens, you're going to see that you've got a battery and a memory card. Most of the cameras have their battery and memory card together. A couple of the cameras have a battery only here and a memory card slot located on the side. So if you don't see your memory card in here, let me know. I will show you exactly where that one's located, okay? To eject the memory card, you're going to go ahead, you're going to press down on it. It will automatically pop up and you're going to remove it. Notice the label. The label goes towards the back of the camera where the viewfinder is. You're going to gently push it in. If you listen very carefully, you might even hear the click. There's just a slight click to know that it's in place. It is a very flowy move, which means if you feel like you really need to push that to get it to go into the camera, you're doing it wrong. So please stop yourself. I have had a few students that have done that. They have been wonderful at coming to show me, Miss Glaze, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And I fixed it with them, so they learned a lesson for next time. The battery. The battery is very important. I have this battery located here, but I also have this little gray switch right here. And this gray switch is very important because that's what actually holds the battery in place. So what I do is I just pop that gray switch over. You'll actually see that battery. Oops, sorry, let me do it again. I'm gonna pop that gray switch over. I'm gonna reach with my other hand. There we go. The battery pops up and you could remove that battery, okay? Same thing goes with the battery. You can see it's got a little arrow pointing down. You will also see on the inside of the camera, you'll see some little sort of metallic edges at the bottom. That's where the charge makes contact. That's how it gets power from the battery into the camera. I also have sort of a matching set on my battery. So you want to make sure that those align and you get that put in. So that's going to go in. You're going to sort of scooch that gray bar over. I scooch it over, push that down, and it should lock in place. Again, very fluid, very easy. If you have to force it, you are doing it wrong. Maybe you have the wrong battery. Maybe you have it in backwards. Maybe you even have it in upside down. So you do want to take the time to make sure that you are very careful about that. Okay, so that battery is in. That one is ready to go. And we're going to get moving. And I'm going to zoom back out with our auto mode. Okay, so once I turn this on, it should turn on. Can you hear those batteries right there? Right now I might have picked a dead battery because it's not turning on. I'm going to get someone to grab me a fresh battery. I'm going to replace it really quick. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back in. Notice I turn the camera off before replacing the battery. That is always recommended. So, of course, this one somehow is not doing so well. Grab me another one. You can see right now that would definitely be a case where you would say, hey, I need to put this guy on charge. Okay, so that one I need to change. I don't want to just open it up at this stage. I'm going to say off. I'm going to go ahead and change it. Hopefully we've got a winner. I put a lot of them on charge, but that might be the wrong stack. Come on. There we go. All right. So we are in business right now. So you can see right now, you can see it says Scene Intelligent Auto. So it's just intelligent. It looks at what you're trying to take pictures of, and it takes the picture of it the best it thinks you need. All right. Right now it's at full battery. You can see that battery sign is all the way up. You want to be very aware of that. I have 428 pictures. Before you take your camera, I'm going to wipe your memory cards clean. I want you to start off with fresh memory cards with nothing from any other times on there, so we don't have to worry about that. You can see that that display eventually disappears. So you may decide to, when you press your shutter release, you're going to see some of it will pop back up so you can see it. But you'll notice I pressed my shutter release just a little bit. Okay? Also, my flash popped up. Oftentimes we do not use flash photography in here. We tend to do a lot of natural lit photography just because the flash tends to be a little bit too abrasive. So what you're going to want to do is pop that back down. You can go up to the top right here and you can press the no flash. You can also move it, instead of being on the A+, you can move it to the automatic with no flash, and that's that next one right there. And you get that up there. That's the next one right underneath it. It's like that little lightning bolt with the not sign through it. All right, so that's what you should expect when you're working for this. So when I take a picture, I'm going to go ahead and put my right finger on the shutter release. The neck strap is on. You're going to hear it's going to execute it, and you're going to hear that shutter open and close. Now, that picture may be awful, it may be awesome, and there's a bunch of reasons for it. I turn the camera. I'm going to make sure you can see it, and I want to view what my picture looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and find this play button. Your play button should be a blue triangle with a little rectangle around it. And I know it's a little hard to see, but it's right here on the camera. That's, hi guys, that's my camera right there. You can see there's a little bit of blur in there. I can press it and I get rid of it. And I'm going to come around to the front and I'm going to show you about focusing. Right here, I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. You will see AF and MF. I know it's kind of hard to see, that's in a little bit of shadow right there. That's autofocus and manual focus. Of course, at the very beginning, if you want to work at autofocus just for today, okay. But otherwise, I want you to be working on manual focus, and I really want you to work on focusing on what it is you want to take a picture of and learning how to focus. That also means you have to have good eyesight. Whether you have your glasses on or naturally good eyesight, you still need to have your vision corrected to whatever it needs. So if you wear glasses, especially for distance, you're going to want to wear glasses while you are shooting your photographs. That is imperative, because this will only focus as well as your eyes focus through whatever you're looking at. So if I have my glasses on, it'll focus beautifully because I'm looking at it with perfect eyes. If I'm shooting and I don't have them on, I can focus, it'll be crisp and clear in my viewfinder. The problem comes when I actually look at the picture, it's blurry because it's taking a picture according to my prescription or my vision and how I see distance. So your corrective vision is most important here. If I put it on manual focus, I'm going to switch that over. You can see right now that white line is pointing to MF, and it's ready for manual. You'll see, again, let me back that up a little bit, that this becomes much easier to move. If it's very rough to move it, don't force it. Look at the focus. This has unlocked sort of the motor that drives it. There's a motor that drives your lens to do autofocus, and if it's locked, it becomes very sticky and difficult to work with, okay? So you do want to make sure that you realize you're going to zoom, you're then going to focus, and as soon as you're done, you're going to go ahead and you're going to stabilize your camera. You want to make sure your arms are locked into your body. You're going to go ahead and press your shutter even halfway just to help you kind of see it, and then execute it. And then check out that picture and see if it's pleasing to you. You can always delete pictures later, so don't spend 12 years deleting them as you're photographing in camera, okay? So those are some of the basics of working on auto mode. The next time we talk, we're gonna do a little bit more with some of our manual modes on here, some of our aperture and shutter priority type modes, so you become a little bit more familiar with them. But again, when you are done, our power is going to get turned off. This is going to get, make sure I get as far away as possible. To bring it back to me, you're gonna hold the camera very carefully. You're gonna grab the whole neck strap. You wanna wind the neck strap around the camera body and through the bottom. You're gonna place it in the tray by your letter, lens side up. Very last thing I forgot to mention earlier because I'm looking at the lens. Speaking of lenses, if your lens is dirty, you're going to want to clean it. And you have to clean it in a very specific way. First of all, it should only be a soft cotton shirt. Very soft cotton shirt. So between